I have a burning question in my mind, and that's how does Stellaris stack up against Gal Civ IV? So I'm going to take a look at that and find out. Both games are set in outer space. Stellaris is a real-time strategy game that is possible, while Gal Civ IV is turn-based. Anyway, Stellaris is a lot more mature and has a lot more DLC than Gal Civ IV, which currently has none. So I'm going to turn off all the DLC to Stellaris to make this a little more of a fair comparison between the two games. The version of Stellaris I'm using is 3.4.3 Cepheus. Anyway, the place I usually like to start comparing games is in the game setup itself. As you can see, I've disabled all my DLC, so all my custom civilizations are disabled. And Stellaris, you've got 10 opening civilizations to start with without any DLC. These can also be edited if you want to. But you can edit things like the appearance, the species name lists if you want to, traits, the name and class of your home world, city appearance, reptilian, however you want it to look, origin, like prosperous unification. These are things that give a little background story to the game. There's certain requirements you have to fulfill. Also, it shows you the ones that are available if you have the DLC. Kind of a sales pitch, I guess, that works. Government and ethics. So here's the ethics. You can set the authority type. You can choose your civics. You can name the empire. You can choose the flag and the color. Choose your ship appearance. What do you want? Mollusk, mammalian, reptilian. These are locked out because I've disabled the DLC. And you can choose your species ruler. I'm not sure what phenotype is. You can choose whether they're male or female. That's the civilization setup screen for Stellaris. When you're finished setting this up, you can either save it or go back. I'm not going to save the changes. So you go to the next. So you select the race to play, and then you go to the game details where you can set up the galaxy size, galaxy shape, the number of empires you play against, how many of them are advanced AIs, fallen empires. Lots of good things to set here. End game year, mid game year, victory year, difficulty, scaling difficulty, how aggressive the AI is. So a lot of good settings here that you can set. This game, unlike most, does not have victory conditions. So that's one difference I know of right away. Anyway, when you're happy with these, like maybe I want more primitive civilizations, but anyway, when I'm done with these, I click play and it starts a new game for me. This one starts out telling me about the prosperous unification, which is the origin I selected for my empire. So a little more backstory to the game. Click begin and the game starts out paused. The version of Gal Civ IV that I'm using to compare Stellaris to is version 1.03. And I tried to break these screens up a little bit, but it just didn't flow right because they're kind of arranged differently between the two games. So I thought I'd just go through the whole thing. It should only take a couple minutes. So I click new game, and right away you're taken to where you choose the civilization you want to lead. You've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you've got 18 civilizations to choose from in the vanilla version of Gal Civ IV, which is 8 more than Stellaris. But on the other hand, with Stellaris, you have a whole lot more when you add in all the DLCs. A little more money. So that's a distinction between the two games. Go to the next screen. This is where I can customize my civilization, similar to Stellaris. I can choose abilities. I can choose the ideology, which is similar to civics or ethics and civics in Stellaris. And I can choose traits for my civilization. I can set my home world up. A few things there. So that's pretty similar. Next screen is game settings. This is a little different than Stellaris. I can set sectors in this game, where Stellaris is one big galaxy that you can set the shape of if you want to. That was in the game settings. I didn't point that out, but it's there. You can set the number of planets you want, and so all these settings are pretty well duplicated in Stellaris. Next, you can choose your opponents, which is something different from Stellaris. You can't choose your opponents that I'm aware of, but you can set the number. You can also set the difficulty of each one, which is a little different than Stellaris. So this maybe has a few more choices at the beginning than Stellaris when it comes to this, but I think they even out over the long haul. Depends what your interests are. So you click Start Game, And you start out with a little backstory to this game, just like you do in Stellaris. Click done. So that's the startup for Gal Civ IV. Stellaris has a full tutorial, and if it doesn't activate when you first start the game, it's not a problem to get it going again. Just bring up the menu, go to settings, go to gameplay, and right here, tutorial, you can set it to full or tips or none. I set it to full, say apply.
Tutorial mission.
Once that's done, just resume the game. If fear is already enabled when you start a new game, then it'll pop up and give you options, either full tutorial, tips only, or you can turn him off. The nice thing about Veer is that he is contextually sensitive, so if I hit the research
The technology screen is
options,
where we will be directing
he'll
our
tell me about
research
technology
efforts.
plus give me some text to read also.
Technologies are categorized into 3 different fields.
When I'm done with
With
that, I
each
say
field-
don't show again. So this is pretty much true for everything. If I click on a
This
planet,
is our
there
home
again, he
world
pops up
and
again.
the capital of our empire, the planets.
You can also shut Veer down. I just love doing that.
urge you to reconsider. The planet summary screen, which we
So it's a pretty good tutorial. It gets you to the basics. Although you get a lot of help in Gal Civ IV from your leaders, they'll give you advice. The tutorial itself is almost completely missing. I've got a new game here, and when I bring up my options, I can see that my tutorial is enabled, but it just, even though this is a new game, it didn't start. Although I know there is one, I've seen it pop up occasionally. So tutorial, I don't know, this is not a hard game to learn, but it'd be nice to have a decent tutorial with it, and the game just doesn't seem to have one. Now, I could be remembering some settings from a past game that I've played, because I've played this before, but I don't remember that being the case, because I don't remember ever seeing the tutorial pop up when I started a new game. However, the tutorial does pop up every now and then, and it does give you some help. I think it's contextually sensitive. It'll show you things or you can dismiss it, but I'm not sure how well it works because I haven't seen it very often. Before I get into some of the gameplay stuff, I like to take a stroll around the user interface on both games, and I like games that make good use of the edge of the screens. And the Stellaris does that. It has an outliner that's collapsible, so you can get rid of it or bring it out. Pause button, play button at the top, gives you the date. You can speed it up, slow it down. Gives the resource breakdown across the top. Gives you alerts at the top. At the right, there's another outliner that gives you expansion planner, things like that. It can be locked if I can get it to do it. It can be locked so that it doesn't pop out if that's your thing. I like it for it to pop out. And at the bottom, you can key in on like your construction ships or your science ships. This gives you a readout of the planet you're currently at. It's easy to scroll around by just going to the edges of the screen, and I can pop out to the galaxy view just like that and get an overall view of my empire and where it's at and the game itself. So down here, it's also got map modes, trade routes. So very well laid out in Stellaris. The game options are right here, and I can exit the desktop straight from the game. Good user interface. The user interface in Galactic Civilizations 4 makes good use of the edges of the screen also. Similar to Stellaris, it gives you the turn number and the date in the upper right hand corner. It can tell you how close you are to victories, like prestige victory. The menu along here brings up things like your advisors, who effectively are a tutorial in a way. Summary of the game, where you stand in relation to everybody else. Planets, ships, shipyards. Along the top, you get the breakdown of your resources, same as Stellaris. It also tells you what research you're conducting and how many turns it takes to complete it. Along the left edge, you get your alerts, like upgraded kinetic whatchamajigger, or you can watch battles that happened if you want to. At the bottom left, you get whatever your focus is. That's what pops up in the left-hand corner. Same as Stellaris, pretty much. Along the bottom of the screen is another menu. You can look at your civilization, your leaders, ideology, executive orders, data bank, things like that. Bottom right corner is a turn button. I have not found the button that brings up an in-game menu, but pushing the escape key does, and the escape key does the same thing as Stellaris. So Not a big deal to me that it's missing, and it may be there, maybe I just haven't found it yet. But from here you can exit the game right to the desktop. So another very good user interface in the Gal Civ IV as well. As for ease of learning the game or getting into it, I found Stellaris to be reasonably easy. You just take care of the alerts first is the best way to start. So you've got 3 alerts up here that are all pertain to research. So click on that. And also listening to Veer will help you find your way through the game as well. Clicking on something like a science ship will also bring up Veer's help.
Science ship, which is used to survey astronomical objects such as planets in a
He'll
star
tell you
system.
what to do with it.
A planet needs to be surveyed in order to make its resources visible.
So I'll go out here, survey the system. Constructor ships, they'll tell you what those are about also. Overall, just taking care of the alerts is the basic way to get started in this game. And listening to Veer. In Gal Civ IV, the same basic principle applies to get started with the game. Take care of your alerts, which show up down here in place of the turn button, and pay attention to your advisors. They'll give you a good idea what you should do first in the game. You click on an alert, choose your research, click done. The next alert will pop up like empty policy slot, pick a policy, done. So same basic approach to Gal Civ IV as Stellaris. Take care of your alerts and follow the advice of your advisors. This is another game that's really pretty easy to get into. Research is quite a bit different between the two games. In Stellaris, there's 3 branches you can research at the same time: physics, society, and engineering. You can also pull up what you researched in the past. Right now there's not much, just my starting text. There's no research tree in Stellaris like there is in Gal Civ IV. I'm going to click this to bring up a list. So all you get when it's time to select research is a list of 3 or 4 things depending on what the modifiers are. The only real clue you get that it might be important is this little padlock icon. The padlock icon just means that you can get more advancements in the future in that technology. There are 2 basic ways to get more research in Stellaris. You can either build a research lab. Right now I don't have enough minerals to build one. And the other way is to go out to Galaxy View, select a construction ship, and you can build research stations if there's some available. Research in Galactic Civilizations 4 is quite a bit different from Stellaris. For one thing, you only research 1 item at a time. You get 4 to choose from as a default, the 5th one when you assign a Minister of Technology. There's 4 focuses or branches you can look at. It also has a technology library, which you can go through and get the lowdown on just about anything in the game, or anything in the game really. When you go to the Tech Navigator, whatever you're researching is in the center, like xenomedicine is what I've got right now, and it shows you what was before it and what was after it. You can't get to any other branches of research right from here, so I don't know how many branches there really are. I can switch and see what Starbase Refineries would give me and what led up to it and what it leads to, and maybe what I want to branch off to in the future if it comes up. So it's quite a bit different from Stellaris. Going back, the way you increase your research capability in Gal Civ IV, there's 2 basic ways. One of them is through your leaders. You can assign leaders to be ministers. So I've assigned a leader to my Minister of Technology. That's what gave me that 1 extra technology slot. And also he gives me a 13% bonus to research empire-wide. And that's based on his intelligence. The other way is through your planets. So if I go to Earth as an example and manage it, you can build research districts that will give you more research. You can there's projects that will let you increase research on on the planet itself, 1 per planet for this. Over here, it gives you a breakdown of what the basic input is from Earth and anything is feeding it, like Mars is giving it 0.94 technology. And here are improvements that are built on the planet that improve research as well. And you could use this as maybe a guideline for building other planets, although it's pretty evident when you start building on a planet as what's what. I realize this video wouldn't be complete without taking a look at ships and fleets in combat in both games. So I've got a fleet selected in Stellaris right now, and when I select a fleet, it gives me a list of the ships. I can look at ship details if I want to. I can upgrade my fleet if I want to. So there's various things here. About the only tactical options I see for this is this one. You can either discourage allied fleets from following you or encourage them to follow you. In other words, you take point. As for the fleet stance, there's only two: passive, which means you don't move towards hostile targets, but you'll enter combat if they get close enough to you, or aggressive, which means anything that enters your system will get targeted by your fleets. So not a whole lot of tactical options in Stellaris.
Engaging hostile forces.
So combat itself is pretty well rendered in this game. You can zoom in and see all the glorious details of the combat. Lasers hitting shields. It's pretty good. You can also bring up a box that monitors the progress of the battle for you, whether you're winning or losing. Looks like I'm going to lose this one. And sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. I have a fleet selected in Gal Civ IV, and there's really no tactical options. You've got you can set to auto explore, you can set the fleet to sentry duty, you can send it to go. You can send to a specific location. Same thing as right-clicking or a short missile volley. Anyway, when you have this fleet selected, this tells me there's a commander assigned to the fleet, which gives me bonuses. So you can get a tooltip of what each ship is as you scroll over it in the fleet. This one has a little ship insignia on it. This is my commander. He's given me like 25% beam attack to all ships in the fleet and plus 5% shields. The way you get those is to go to your leaders and commanders, and you would just drag and drop a leader to one of these, turn him into commander, and the ship is spawned instantly when you do that. You can also take a look at past combats if you want to. Like this will give me a readout of I had a victory, damage taken 25, ships lost 1, and I dealt that much damage and destroyed 1 ship. Wasn't much of a fight, it looks like. Show battle log, so this tells you the back and forth between the two fleets. You can watch the battle if you want to. And you can scroll in and out. And there are various camera options, top down, cinematic, follow a ship, free. I like the top down view. Looks like this was taking some damage, but in the end I was victorious. There's the ship I lost, and then I took him out. So it really has a really great graphics for the battles. Both games do. By the way, if you made it this far in the video and you like it, please hit the like button down below, because not only does this help it spread to other viewers, it also tells me that I'm on the right track and can make more of these. There are some distinct differences between the two games. One thing, Stellaris is real-time strategy that you can pause, whereas Gal Civ IV is turn-based. Another one is that this is a little deeper game strategy-wise than Gal Civ IV is, and that can be good or bad depending on what flavor you like and what kind of mood you're in, because there's some days I don't feel like having a heavy-duty game like Stellaris to play. I want something a little simpler, but like I said, Gal Civ IV is a good game too. Anyway, one thing that's different is ship movement. I mean, you both move ships in both games by right-clicking, but in Stellaris that movement is along a fixed path called hyperlanes. The nice thing about hyperlanes is that you can set up choke points to defend your empire with. So I can take a point and build up a starbase and station a fleet there. Whereas in a freewheeling game like Gal Civ IV, they can bypass a lot of your defenses. In Gal Civ IV, ship movement's a little more freewheeling. I can pretty much follow any path I want to without any hyperlane restrictions. So I can go clear over here, no problem. And that does allow you to bypass defenses in some cases, and also you can go right by an enemy ship, an enemy fleet, without intercepting it. Something that can be problematic. One thing I really like about Gal Civ IV is the cutscenes. I mean, they're just great. That's something you don't see in Stellaris, but the amount of detail, and I don't know, I like them a lot in a game. I just think it adds to the flavor of the game. They're really great. Also, when you colonize a planet in this game, you get usually 3 things you can choose from for bonuses. One other thing I really like about Gal Civ IV is the graphics. They are really beautiful and have a lot of detail. I won't say it does it better than Stellaris. I hate to draw those kinds of comparisons, but it is something that's really nice. It's just a nice feature to Gal Civ IV. I can scroll out and get a beautiful display of everything. And it's pretty intelligible for the most part. I mean, sometimes the ships are blobbed together, but in the overview you can get things like capsules and ship graveyards. Another thing is planet management. This is also a great graphic. So I think, like I said before, I can't say enough about the graphics in this game. They're really great. So what do I think of the games when I compare them? It depends. Once again, as always, it depends. I feel like for something that's deep in strategy, especially if you get all the DLC, something that's got a lot of options and takes a lot of time to play, then and you like real-time strategy, then Stellaris is the game for you. If you're more into the beautiful graphics, turn-based, something that's not quite as deep, but a little easier to play, that has victory conditions, then Gal Civ would be the one for you. So I don't know what the... I don't know. I like them both. If you're interested in Galactic Civilizations 4, I have a whole series of videos, and I'll put a link to the review at the end of this video. Plus, I'll put a link in the description down below. So that pretty well wraps this up. If you like these types of videos where I compare games, let me know that in the comments and give me an idea what you'd like to see compared. So until next time, this is Rich from Lawrence Strategy Games. I'll see you later. Bye.